A lot of research has shown that the building industry actually is not an industry anymore. It's more of a handicraft business. And if you compare it to other industry, it performs very poorly. Economically and quality-wise, it is worse than it was 10 years or 20 or 50 years ago. This is a business of crisis. And a lot of this is also about that the building industry really hasn't digitized. The processes are very old, the means of coordinations are very, very old, and the standardization around this is in shambles. The biggest challenge the entire industry has is a little bit around digitization, but more about fragmentarization and compartmentalization. We have actually not achieved the level of coordination that an industry needs. So if you go to any building site anywhere in the world, you will see lots of confused people carrying rebar and bricks and timber, and they're working with their hands. Where are the robots? Where is the pre-production? Of course, there are really good examples from place to place, but overall, this is not an industry. This is a handicraft business. We need to utilize new processes and new tools from the early stages of analysis and planning and design, but we also need to really digitize the production phase of this industry. We need to digitize all these steps. And we can't compartmentalize this digitization. It must be the same information that flows throughout the old processes. Things we produce in the design process, for instance, digital information we create, has a great value after the building has been built for asset management and facility management and operations. Up until quite recently, simulations and analysis tools have been very slow and not very integrated to the rest of the design process. Typically, these kind of tools come in late after the design process is more or less finished. So analysis has come more and more to become a tool to prove how poorly this building will perform. But nowadays, there are a new kind of analysis tools that come in very early in the design process that can integrate with the design tools directly. This means that we can actually start to drive the design from knowledge, understanding of how certain designs will perform in different kind of perspective when it comes to climate or daylight or wind or air pressure. Whatever we need to know, we can start to analyze very early on. So we can get a more interesting architecture because we know much more about how the building will perform. Otherwise, when we go by the rule of thumb, we tend to play it safe and thus getting more boring architecture. So by knowledge from the early stages, driving design from this will mean better performing houses and more interesting architecture. Analysis tools like Ingrid Cloud, you don't need to export and do everything from scratch. So you can have the same tool driving the entire design process. And this is actually one of the core features of BIM, having the same information running throughout the process, not recreating and doing copies of information, but the same information. So that's very right.